I hit record, and then I heard my husband out in the garage with the welder, and then all of a sudden my son turned his bass way up, so I had to leave quick and like do damage control. Hey guys, it is Saturday afternoon and we are prepping again. We're doing level 2 prep, what I call level 2 prep, which is snacks and lunches. So, sorry, I'm like discombobulated because as soon as I like set, and I went to set the start button on the live, and it prompted me to pick a song, and I was like, no, we're not singing today, we're just gonna prep today. And then all that other stuff happened, so like, I need my cleansing breath, and I'm good. So we have some buffalo chicken dip we're gonna do. I actually just made the chicken because it was just so much easier to, hey Patty. It was so much easier to just get that done so that I can just make it and then while the hamburger helper is cooking. And then I'm using my Instant Pot, and you don't have to have an Instant Pot. I love mine because I think that it makes prep so much faster. I actually have 2 of them, but I loaned one to a friend, and so I only have one today. But you don't have to use it, and so I'm gonna use that. I used it for the chicken, and then I'm gonna use it for the hamburger helper, and that's all we're making in the Instant Pot today. And then we're doing more of the oatmeal energy bites, the protein bites, because everybody seemed to love them, and we love them. We eat them all the time, and it's fun to just add like different mix-ins. I didn't do anything fun this week, anything different, but my friend just made some, and she had, she put white chocolate chips and cranberries in them. They were really good. We've put raisins in them. Cranberries are really good in them, like the little raisins. So we're gonna make those, and then we're gonna do our veggies again because we eat them every week. Celery and carrot. My husband eats celery and carrots, and I add cucumbers, and I cut them up by the day. So I would love to know if you guys ended up eating those, and if that helped you just snack on something a little bit healthier than chips, because that's always my go-to. And I also, I felt like last week, I didn't feel well at all. Like, I turned this off and I crashed, like kitchen a mess. I threw everything that needed to go in the fridge, and like I crashed out for like 2 hours, and I woke up and I was just done. Like, I felt so sick. So I'm so glad that I'm not this week. So the bad part is that you get me in full effect. And so I did last week, though I feel like I rushed through it. And so I don't know if that was because I was sick, or that was because I'm the only person here talking, and I know that you're all out there, but it's just me in my kitchen talking to myself. And so I turned the music on real low, so if you guys can hear it and it's bothersome, let me know and I'll turn it off. But I just thought if it's just some kind of a background noise, and maybe I won't feel so rushed. So anyway, we're gonna start. So like I said, I did the chicken beforehand. I have been putting it in the food processor. And that's actually, I don't even think I've added it to the recipe yet that I've done that, but I just use, I don't even know what this blade is called, whatever this blade is. I call it the pulverizer blade because it totally does. It just makes it into nothing, but it's perfect for dip because the buffalo chicken dip, I used to shred the chicken, and it was really hard to like pick up with veggies or put on something or even eat. Like, you took a bite and it was like stringy shredded chicken. So that when you put it in the food processor, it's like pulverized dip, but it's really good and it's much easier to eat that way. So that's the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm just gonna not shred it, but cut it in the food processor quick, and then we're gonna do the buffalo chicken dip. This is my hands down favorite, I say snack, but like, I have it for lunch all the time, or I have it for a snack, or sometimes I've had it for dinner. It's just so easy to make, and then I stick it in the freezer. So I'm making one batch today, but I usually make a double batch, and I stick it in the freezer. And like last week, I prepped, but I just didn't feel like anything. Like, that we prepped for snacks, and I didn't do a very good job with lunches. I didn't feel like cold cuts, and so I had like a little thing of it frozen. And so I just defrosted it, and it took like 2 minutes in the microwave, and then it was done. And so I will often do that. I will often take any leftovers or anything that I feel like, oh, I may have made too much of this and I may not eat it. Excuse me. I put like single serving bowls in the freezer, and we have like shelves in our, it's like one of those deep ones. But the top is always full of frozen meals. And so I have like a thing of white chicken chili in there, and I have some goulash in there and some buffalo chicken dip, so that whenever I'm stuck or need extras, I always have something frozen. So if it gets to be like Wednesday and you have a lot of food left over, definitely put it in the freezer so it doesn't go bad, and then you can use it some other week. You'll be super thankful. I think this is gonna be loud, and so I apologize for that now. But it needs to be done and I'll be quick. My dog just popped his head up like, are you making food for us? And then I mix all this together in my KitchenAid. You can do it by hand if you want. You can do it with a regular mixer. Whatever works. I love my KitchenAid and I use it all the time. I see you. You're not getting in. Take that. Go. I also use that for when I make my goulash and I stick a ton of extra veggies in it. I always stick them in the food processor with that blade, and it pretty much just turns them into sauce, and so nobody can tell. So if you have picky kids, and even you could probably do the same thing. I haven't done it with the hamburger helper yet, because I try to do like red peppers, and that's really easy to hide in that red sauce. But I didn't know with this, like if I did green peppers, if it would add too much flavor. But you could put like cauliflower in it, and the kids probably would never notice because it always takes the taste of whatever it's in. But just an idea. Sorry, I feel bad coming over. Put in my face. All right, so I pulled out all the stuff that didn't need to sit in the fridge, but. So this is definitely better when you can blend it with something like this sauce, because it gets that texture out of the cottage cheese that so many people don't like. And if people ask if they can swap the cottage cheese for stuff, you absolutely can, but it doesn't, like you could use double Greek yogurt, but the Greek yogurt is heavier, and I feel like it makes it a heavier dip. And so if you use the cottage cheese and you don't have like a mixer or like a blender to mix it up with, or even the food processor probably would have been fine. The cottage cheese stays, like those clumps stay. I don't like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, but I love this dip. And I think it's because it's all blended together and I can't taste it. And the first couple times I did it, I saw like, not like white chunks, but there were like white pieces in there, and I couldn't figure out what they were because I blended the cottage cheese, but it's just the chicken. So if you have anybody that dissects their food, like it sounds like I do, that's what it is. It's the chicken. So 3/4 cup of each, cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. I don't add, this calls for extra cheese, for cheddar cheese. Go. Sorry, they ran out of food a couple weeks ago, and I made them like chicken and brown rice for dinner, and so they loved it. They were really excited, and so now every time I cook chicken, he's like, "What are you doing?" This calls for extra cheese, and I don't care for cheese, and I don't put it in. I don't think that it alters the taste a ton, but I don't know, if I don't have to do it, I don't want to do it. So I just use the cottage cheese and the Greek yogurt. And it doesn't matter, a lot of people have asked what kind, if it has to be small herd, or I never even paid attention because I don't buy it usually. This is small, I think. Now that I know, it doesn't matter because you're mixing it all, you're blending it all together, and you get rid of all those clumps that I don't care for. And last time I had a, hold on, I opened Facebook so I could see if you guys were asking questions. Let me find it. And then I don't have to keep staring at that camera. All right. Turn down. Okay. Greek yogurt. I get plain and 2% because you definitely don't want like a vanilla taste in here. And the 2% seems to be, like, I don't like the super thick. And then the non-fat sometimes makes it really thin, like way too watery for a good dip. And so I found that I prefer the 2%. I'm gonna have to wash that. All right, so I measured out the spices before because I knew that it was not, I'm not a multitasker and there was no way. So I measured those out before. So that was the garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, dill, parsley, and I don't add the salt. Frank's has a ton of salt in it, so I do not add that. 3/4 cup. And when I use Frank's, it's the regular Frank's. There's like 5 ingredients in it, which is totally different than the Frank's buffalo sauce that has way more than that. So I always use the regular Frank's. And I feel like the other spices in there give you, plus the cream with the Greek yogurt, gives you enough of that buffalo flavor. Like, I love buffalo everything, and I'm totally happy with this. I don't feel like you need that buffalo dip. All right, let me go blend this real quick. No way that I was going to bring all my appliances over to the island and try to use them all. All right, so then that goes into the shredded chicken. It's a little thick. It's not bad. Some people have said that there's a super thick, and so I would recommend like adding a little bit of almond milk or something to it, but this is fine for me. And my quick warning for this is that if you have anybody in the house that likes buffalo dip, or buffalo anything, and you're planning on using this for your snacks, make double or tell them to stay out of it because you're gonna have to make more. Because people don't realize that it has healthier stuff in it. They think it's just regular buffalo chicken dip, and then they want to eat it all. And so I would definitely double the batch, because I've had plenty of times where I've made it and then the kids have eaten it all. told you I can't multitask. As I was talking, I put the Greek yogurt in here in the bowl instead of in the mixer, which was fine. I was wondering when I was over there, I was like, doesn't seem like there's enough. As long as it's not the cottage cheese, because that's what you want it to be blended from that texture. All right. So buffalo chicken dip is done. I'm gonna have to wash this bowl when we're done. But it's not pretty. It's not, it actually doesn't really look appetizing. Hey, Margie. But it's delicious and you are gonna love it. And I put it on everything. Like I use it as a dip, or I put it in deviled eggs. Like I've had deviled eggs sitting there for my lunch and I'm like, maybe I should just put them together. So we've done that. We've done, we've put it inside of mini peppers, like as an appetizer. We've used it with like chips or pita chips. I haven't eaten it by itself, but other people have. People have put it on top of pizzas. It's just so, like there's so much that you can do with it. It's so versatile. So I'm just gonna portion this out. I do not have a ton of meal prep containers. I need to get more eventually, but I don't have space for them. So I'm gonna do what I can today. It made me a little nervous with the hamburger helper doing all the lunches because I usually just do my husband's lunch, but I figured I would just do both of them. So what I've done in the past is I've used like one big container and I've put like enough for lunches in my small containers that I have, and then halfway through the week, they're all washed and clean, and so then I take from the big container and I put them into the small containers again for the rest of the week, and that works well. And so you can portion this out the cup, or this, the cup. The serving is, I think it's 3/4, half cup. So the serving is half cup. And so what I usually do is, I'll do a half cup, or I'll just stick it in one of these, I think it's a cup container. It is, it's a cup. And then I'll just eat half one day and then half the next. And then I'm going to do just what I said. I'm going to put it in this container, and then I'll portion it out in the smaller ones later in the week when I have more small containers. I think I actually might put it in the freezer. All right, buffalo chicken dip is done. Now we are going to start the hamburger helper. Sorry. Okay. So again, you do not need an Instant Pot. I use one especially when I'm meal prepping just because it's faster. I know that is, it's totally one of your favorites, Margie. You're the one that got me thinking outside the box with like putting in eggs and just all the other things that we've put them on. Because it's so stinking good. So I doubled the recipe for the hamburger helper. What I need is like a little sous chef that can clean all my dishes while I move on to the next. I have to talk to the kids about that. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Sorry, I just gotta. I didn't pull out the onions, and I chopped frozen onions and peppers, and I totally use them. I don't cut onions anymore. And it made me think even more about it, because last week I wear contacts. Last week I don't wear contacts on days that I work all day and don't go to yoga. And so I had my glasses on and I was cutting onions, and it hurt so bad. I was crying and crying, and it hurt my eyes so bad. And I was like, that's it. That's just one more reason that I'm buying these frozen onions. And they were all on sale last week, so I got like 15 bags of them because they were $1. And so I was like, it's at least, I'm gonna say it's at least a large onion. And so I figured for $1 that wasn't too bad. So I'm gonna need 2 cups of the onion. And I'm gonna stick the ground beef in here first though. There's one of those, I don't even know what you call it, like the things at the bottom of the meat. I'm always afraid that I'm going to cook that. All right, I'm going to let that brown for a minute, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to wash these real quick. I don't have enough bowls to do all of the recipes without washing. And I'm really afraid that if I let the buffalo chicken dip sit in the Vitamix, that my next smoothie is going to taste like buffalo chicken, and I don't want that to happen. We made barbecue sauce last weekend, and we used the Vitamix to blend it after we smoked it. We just had it on the smoker for a while, and yeah, that's good. We're good. So my husband washed out the Vitamix after we blended the barbecue sauce, but then he put the lid back on it, and somehow that, I don't know if it just wasn't cleaned enough or what the deal was, but I opened it up and went to pour all my stuff in there, and I was like, oh, I totally smell barbecue sauce. So I washed it and scrubbed it, and it was pretty funny though. It wouldn't have been funny if I had wasted protein powder and made a shake with it. Okay, so we're gonna use this later for the protein balls, the protein bites. So we're good. So I'm just browning the meat in here. Oh, I didn't realize that you can't see me. I'm going to brown the meat over here then. One of my favorite things about the Instant Pot is that there's one thing to clean, because I am famous for using every dish in my kitchen for dinner. And then there's a huge cleanup, and so what I love is that there's no cleanup in this. Well, I guess there is cleanup, but it's just one pan pot. So for this recipe, I don't even know if I mentioned it in email. I should have, but there are slow cooker instructions and stovetop instructions. So I'm not going to give you something to cook in the next couple weeks that you can only make with an Instant Pot. You don't need one. I just use mine a lot. All right, 2 cups of onion. For the green chilies, I know that that is a pretty Southwest thing to have, and not everybody can get them at their grocery store. And so, and we live like 20, 25 minutes from a grocery store. So there are times that recipes are getting made without all of the ingredients, or, you know, switching ingredients, and I'm not going to run to the grocery store several times a week. So we get fresh what we can and what will last, but then I've been using a lot of frozen veggies lately, and I've been putting them in my air fryer, and I take advantage of some of the higher quality products that are pre-packaged. Like I use these green chilies, and so there are literally green chilies. There's salt, it's garlic salt, but I mean, I think you're gonna find that in anything. And then lime juice, and so they're from New Mexico. So this is the brand that we prefer. We can usually get them at Costco, but I didn't have time to run to Costco this week. And so they have like a big, huge thing of them at Costco. So I'll grab it and I'll use what I need like the first time I open it, and then I'll stick the rest in a freezer bag, and it totally stays, and we just use it. I'll dump it in another recipe. So don't feel like you have to have fresh green chilies for the recipe. And they have cans too. They have canned green chilies. So whatever, sorry, I'm like trying to look at I get notifications every time somebody does something, and it's prompting me to wave to you, or, so anyway, I wanted to let you know that it doesn't have to be. And then if you're looking for something that's not spicy, because these are a little bit spicy, it says medium. I think you can get mild. I would even just maybe do a green pepper, or leave it out. Like, you can leave out the green chili. People have said that tastes fine, and they said it tastes more like traditional hamburger helper. We realized it this week, we were talking about it, my husband and my son and I've never had a hamburger helper before, and so somebody actually had to explain it to me. Excuse me, but when I looked at what to call the recipe, I had asked some people, and I did a little bit of research online, and it seemed like that's what people were calling it to find it. So I'm like, oh, I'll call it that. But it just never clicked with me that it was like a product that was sold that I've never had. So, but people say that if you leave the pepper out totally, it tastes more like a traditional hamburger helper. But the people who have had the pepper in it have said that it tastes better than hamburger helper because it just has like a different flavor. All right, this is almost done. I'm gonna stick the onions. Stop. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. It's okay. Shh. 1 cup fresh green chilies. I'm doubling the recipe. Hold on, what else did I put? I put 2 cups onion. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 cups of green chilies in here. And I know that they're, like 2 cups of fresh green chilies is not really the same as 2 cups of jarred green chilies, but we're going with it because I have the boys here and they like spice, and I think it's okay. We're gonna need beef broth, and then I'm trying to remember if I doubled my spices, and I do not think I did. So I'm gonna pull all of those back out. So I need another teaspoon of paprika. Another teaspoon of garlic. No onion. Salt. Oh, I think that's it. Okay. So I just doubled those. And got garlic onion all over the floor. We're just gonna avoid that for the next hour. Oh, tomato sauce. No, not yet. Hold on. All right. So I just added the green chilies and the spices and the onions. My spatula is officially not helpful anymore. So we're going to do the broth. We need 4 cups of beef broth. Trying to avoid my spill until I can clean it up. I can hear it like crunching under my feet. Let me go grab the macaroni and the tomato sauce. So the recipe calls for a half of a box of pasta, but since we're doubling it, and then 2 cups of tomato sauce. I think that one can of tomato sauce is about a cup. When I had it the other night, just shy of it, which is funny. It says 8 ounces, but it's not a full cup. Stir it and make sure it's all together and that the liquid is above the pasta. It actually looks like there's a lot more liquid in here than there was earlier this week when I did it, and I'm not sure why, but. And then 3 minutes. Has tomato sauce in it, so let me just rinse off my cutting board, and then we can do the we're gonna put the oatmeal clusters, or the protein bites, I call them. I have like 15 different names for them. We're gonna do that quick so that they can sit in the fridge for a few minutes. I know last week I tried it and I wasn't able to do it for a full hour. But I wonder, because then even after that hour, sorry, I'm going to clean up the onion. After the hour, they still weren't ready. And so I wonder if it had something to do with how I mixed them. Like I didn't mix it enough. Oh, my kitchen smells like onion. Okay, that is good enough for now. So I'm gonna wash my measuring cup because I'm spoiled, and measuring peanut butter and anything that doesn't like force it out is miserable for me now. And honey, so I've had this measuring cup for probably close to 15 years. It was from Pampered Chef, and it's so nice because you can use it for liquids or solids, and so it's so nice to get the peanut butter out of. All right. So I'm gonna put them. So last week I didn't put it in my mixer because I didn't want to be rude and use the mixer. But I realized this week that it's much better to just be rude and use the mixer than to have the recipe not come out. And I really think that has something to do with it. But this recipe can be totally varied based on what kind of peanut butter you use. So if you use like the store-bought Jif, it's a little bit thicker, but if you use one of the natural peanut butters, the one that we use is from Costco, and it's almost liquid. And so I feel like it mixes so much better. And then I feel like the stand mixer, I can't even explain it, it just mixes better. Like I shared that picture last week of what happened when I made that extra batch with the stand mixer. It just mixes better, and they stay together better, and it like almost soaks into the oats. Whereas the other one didn't seem to soak into the oats when I didn't use the stand mixer. So using a mixer can give you varied results. Your choice in peanut butter can give you varied results. If you have a lot of add-ins that will soak up moisture, like a lot of coconut will do it, flaxseed will do that. Like if it's ground flaxseed, it'll totally absorb some of the moisture and it'll make it. So you just have to play with it, and you use a little bit more peanut butter or honey to make it, if you need moisture added, and if they're too moist and you can't roll them, then you need to add some more oats. So 2 cups of oats. I'm actually considering just doubling the batch because I know I'm gonna have to halfway through the week anyway, so I think I'm just gonna do that. So 4 cups of oats. I got the mini chocolate chips. I think that might be another thing that doesn't, that mini chocolate chips help them stay together better rather than the regular chocolate chips, because the regular ones just take up more real estate. But you have like an energy ball that's this big or a protein ball that's that big, and so just having a couple chocolate chips in there, it's harder to bind it together. For all my clips. So I have an optional scoop of protein powder. I could totally do that. Let's do that. And it doesn't increase the amount of protein a ton. I literally think it went from like 1 gram of protein per ball to 2. So these are not like protein packed or anything, but it's nice because they're filling and they're just sweet enough that they will keep you out of the cookies. So. And then I updated this post this week and explained like you can make chocolate ones, how to do that, how to add different things. Because I know like my kids at first, when I first made them, would not eat them unless they were chocolate. And so I would melt the peanut butter and honey and chocolate chips over the stove, and then it would turn it so it would look like chocolate. And they were totally happy and they ate it. But if I made it regular and didn't melt the chocolate chips, they wanted no part of it. 2/3 cup coconut. I also think that these, the coconut flakes that I've been able to find lately are not the normal ones that I use. Like I have some other ones that I've gotten in a green package. I don't even know the name of them. But these almost feel like they're more dried. And so I wonder if that had something to do with it. Alright, and then peanut butter and honey. So we're going to double it, so we're going to do 1 cup peanut butter. So you can totally see like it just falls out. I love it, but it's super thin and you just have to get used to it. But it's really good for making these. So, and it's so much cheaper because it's at Costco. So it's so much cheaper than other peanut butter. And we're peanut butter snobs because we love peanut butter. So we want, like I feel like some of the other ones have so much extra stuff in it that you don't taste the peanut butter. And that would be peanut butter cookies too though. I feel like they should be flourless because the flour just takes away from the peanut butter flavor. Alright, so doubling the recipe, that's 1 cup of peanut butter. And then we need 2/3 cups honey to double. And this doesn't show me 2/3. Oh, that's why. Hold on. I told you I can't multitask. Let's try this. There we go. 2/3 cup honey. Do you know, this is my fun fact for the day, that if you get local honey, it can help with your allergies. So I always look for the local stuff. And the closer that you can get, like if you saw a roadside honey stand, it's so much better than like going to Costco and getting their local honey, because theirs is local to like, for us it's local to Arizona. But if you can get one that's like in your region, it's even better because it was made by the bees that have the same stuff in the air. And so people say that, like some people have a tablespoon of honey every morning, local honey, and they swear that it helps with their allergies. All right. Vanilla. So 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And then a little bit of salt. All right, I'm gonna mix these quick. some more peanut butter. See if that helps. Let's see. Double batches in the stand mixer, they don't like it. It's very happy with one batch. Yeah, I'm gonna add some honey, I think. It just, like, it's already falling apart, and so I feel like it might be okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna add it and see. Watch, I'll put too much, and then later I'll have to go back and add oats, because it'll be too much. This looks better to me. So I'm going to cover it, stick it in the fridge for a little bit. And then we can cut our veggies, and then we can come back to these. And this still isn't even started yet. When I updated that post this week, I added instructions for if it just doesn't work and you can't roll them into balls, or you don't want to roll them into balls, of how to just easily press them out, and so that you can cut them with like a pizza cutter and have bars instead. My problem with the bars is that I would always make them different sizes, and then it was bad because I'd be like, no, I want a bigger one, and I would always take the bigger ones. Or I don't know, I feel like with one ball it was like, oh, just have one. And I was better about that. Alright, so we just finished our veggies yesterday. And I was super thankful for my green and white container, because it kept them pretty fresh. Like, they didn't taste any different. The carrots just looked a little bit white, but I mean, it lasted a week, so I was happy, and they were still crunchy and they weren't nasty. So my husband and I are usually the only two that eat these during the day. So I usually do a 2-pound bag of carrots, and then I should have just grabbed them from Costco when I was there last, the celery, because they have like a huge pack of celery for super cheap. But I just got 2 celery hearts from the grocery store, and I feel like there definitely could have been more, but I think this will be enough. Plus, like I said, I snack on cucumbers too, but this was enough for us, the 2-pound bag of carrots and then 2 celery hearts. I've tried to do like peppers, like red bell peppers in here, and it's not, like I feel like they don't stay. I feel like they get a little bit slimy, but I also am a little bit picky about my vegetables, my snacking vegetables, and so if I want a pepper, I'll just cut it during the week. And like I said, my husband, he's totally happy eating carrots and celery every day, so that's what he gets. So I think the longest part of the celery and carrots is peeling the carrots. I think that's like I don't like that part. But I mean, to be honest, it just takes a few minutes. I'll get lazy some weeks and my poor husband has to he'll cut them every morning before work. And I feel bad because it's such a, I don't want to cut the carrots and celery. But truly, it just takes a couple minutes. So the Instant Pot just started, so that's got a 3-minute countdown. So that recipe, the hamburger helper, calls for cheese, optional cheese, and Greek yogurt to make it a little bit creamy. And I don't put that in there because I don't like the cream, but you can absolutely do that, and it doesn't change anything but the fact that yours is going to be creamy. So whatever your family prefers. I kind of ruin my family because I cook and I never cook with extra cheese or cream or anything. So they don't know the deliciousness of some of the recipes that I have on my site with the Greek yogurt and cottage cheese mixture because I don't use it. All right, done. Veggies are done. I have no clue where this is all going to go in my refrigerator, but we're doing it. The guacamole cups that I had talked about, we can find in our produce section, but they're just little 2 tablespoon guacamole cups, and they're actually, it's too much for me because I'm not a big guacamole fan, but I'll just use them to dip chips or veggies in, and my son loves them. And the problem, I don't know if anybody doesn't know this, but I literally just found it out, was that you can't open a thing of guacamole and then close it because it turns brown and it's nasty. So these are pretty perfect. Costco used to have a really good brand that had spicy guacamole, and it was loaded with cilantro and tomatoes, and it was fresh. It didn't have a bunch of junk in it. They don't have it anymore, and it makes me super sad because that was my favorite thing to get. All right, 1 more minute. So, raw veggies, buffalo chicken dip, hamburger helper, protein balls we're doing, nuts. We can do nuts while we're waiting. This is gonna get loud because I have to release all the steam in it, but there's really no other way to do it. So, I'm just gonna count out my 1/4 cup bags of nuts, which was amazing this week, because usually I will grab this and bring it to my desk and be like, I'm just gonna have a couple. And I don't have a couple, and that's an issue. But this week I was like, just grab a bag. And I'd grab a bag and I'd eat the bag and I'm like, no, that's good, I'm good. It's almost done. Hi, Susan. Sorry, I saw that my dishwasher is blinking. So I pulled out the rest of my containers, and anything besides that is going to go into a big container. And these will be, there's no way that this is a serving. This is like almost 5 cups. And so I'll use these, and then we'll just rewash them, and then I'll fill them up the next day until we can get rid of the containers, because we just don't have a ton. And I don't want to just buy a bunch of extra ones and then have nowhere to store them when we're not using them. So. Does anybody else alphabetize their spices? It makes me happy when I know exactly where the spices are that I need. Perfect. And it looked like too much liquid, but it's perfect now. So the thing about the Instant Pot is that when stuff comes out of it, it is super, super hot. So you have to give it a little while to just sit. So like if I make dinner, I know that I'm gonna have to account for that. Like enough time for it to come to pressure, then it cooks for 3 minutes. And so I don't even know what time we started it. But probably takes 25 minutes, I'm guessing, like for everything. And then it has to cool for a little bit. And I don't want to put it into the containers until it's a little bit cool at least. So we could do the protein balls. They probably haven't been in the refrigerator long enough, but we'll see, maybe they'll work. We'll try. Let me wash my hands first, though. They'll be okay. We'll see. I have a cookie scoop somewhere that is helpful when making them. You definitely don't need it, but it helps. It's like the big moment, the big reveal. Is it gonna work? It worked. So it was either the big chocolate chips or the absence of the stand mixer last week that caused mine to not stick. But I definitely like the smaller ones better. And I, to be honest, look for the ones without the chocolate chips because I don't even care for them. Without a bunch of chocolate chips, I should say. I'm fine with them being in there, but I know my kids always look for the ones with the most chocolate chips. So over the years, we put so many different things in these, and they're so easy to customize as long as you use the peanut butter and honey base in the oats. You know, if you wanted to put cinnamon in them, you could put cinnamon. I like the vanilla, but you don't have to with vanilla, especially now. Have you seen the price of vanilla? It's been crazy for like a year. We get our vanilla in Mexico now because it's so much cheaper. It makes no sense why it's so expensive. I think when I went to Costco last to look for a bottle, I mean, it was a Costco-sized bottle, so it was a big bottle, but it was like $30 for a bottle of vanilla. So anyway, I like putting that in here. I think I said before you can do cranberries, butterscotch chips. Friends have done butterscotch chips. I prefer just, like, this is my favorite way to have them. I don't know, I just don't like to add all the candy stuff in them, but a lot of people love it. You could even crunch up, as we're talking about cookies, like if you wanted to crunch up Thin Mints, you could do that and add it to them. That would be really good. They're super easy to kind of put whatever, and so kids love to help make them because they can totally look through the cabinets and be like, let's put these chips in, or let's put these in. So I think that, you know, this is just our second time doing this. We've done this in about the same amount of time as it took us last week to do just snacks. And so I think, you know, there's a lesson to be learned because, you know, I think next week it'll take more time, but not a ton more. I want to say that it should take about 2 hours. About 2 hours. Like, you know, if you have a process going, if you sit down and look at your meals and what you're prepping and figure out, well, what can I do, you know, during that downtime? What can I do while this is boiling? What can I do while this is in the fridge? To figure that out and make sure that you're not just sitting there waiting for something to be done so that you can do something else, that's where it can take much less time. But I mean, I've done prep sessions where I didn't even really know what I was gonna prep going into them. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. And they took all day long, like hours, like 6 or 7 hours. Because I was like, oh, I'll do rice. Oh, I don't have any made. Okay, I have to make some rice. Oh, I'll do this. Oh, I don't have any of that made either. So I really think that sitting down earlier in the week before you even grocery shop and deciding, what am I gonna make? What order am I gonna make it all in? Like, do these all kind of flow together? Like, I'm not gonna make, if I'm gonna use my Instant Pot and I know that I'm gonna rely on that, I'm not gonna make 2 meals that rely on the Instant Pot unless I have 2 Instant Pots. So it's just really nice to be able to plan all that beforehand. And but then, you know, another important part of it is to evaluate, is everybody eating this? Like, did I have food left over at the end of the week? Did I make too much? And if you made too much, during the week, put it in the freezer so you don't waste it. But after that, take note of that. And if I'm doubling a recipe, but you guys just didn't seem to you just didn't seem to eat that much, then don't double it. Even if you have the same amount of people in your house, what if your kids have a huge lunch at school and my son doesn't? Or, what if my husband takes in a really big lunch portion, but yours takes in a small one and has a side salad with it or something else? I really think that you have to think about, so like when people have their, this is the best meal prep list, well, you have to make it yours. So you still have to do a little bit of work when you do those, when you read those things, because that person who is writing that doesn't know your family. And so it requires, I'm gonna say it probably takes me about an hour to pick out the meals and snacks that I'm gonna make and write them all down and write a grocery list for them. So say an hour of work earlier in the week, and then depending on how much you need or like to prep, an hour or two on the weekends to prep for your family. But remember that this is a whole experimental process, and so if you're making too much or too little, or you're like, whoa, the snacks alone were more than enough food for me to prep, then that's how you know, like, you're done, you're good. I enjoy prepping dinner, so I don't like to meal prep dinner. And so I was all stressed out about, what am I gonna do when I have to meal prep, in a couple weeks, all those meals. And I'm probably gonna save them all for lunches the following week, because I really enjoy making dinner at night. And so I'll call my son out to help me, and I turn the music on, and that relaxes me, and it keeps, I work from home, and so I'm in my office all day. If I don't have a dedicated purpose to not be in the office, I will be there until 8 o'clock at night. So I leave the office, and then I come out here and make dinner. And so that's my thing. So I would not be interested in a weekly meal prep that included prepping dinner. But you might feel what if you and your husband work at home? Or what if it's just you? And what if you guys work at home and it's super helpful to have your lunches prepped? Then that's your thing, that's what you do. What if you don't like to make dinner at all? What if you go out every night for dinner? You just have to figure out what works for you, and I think that's super important. And I see so many people that feel like they're gonna fail because they don't meal prep, but they don't realize that this is not an all or nothing thing. I love those beautiful pictures as much as you do, when people have all their pretty meals laid out for the week, and they're all in the same containers, and they look nice and bright and colorful, but that's not real life for most of us. And so it's just not something that I would do that's sustainable for me. So you have to find your perfect meal prep and just own it, and just that's what I do. I do this, and I just prep snacks, and we love it, and it works for us. All right, I'm gonna finish these later. I'm gonna portion those out, I think. They're probably cool enough now. It's not steaming anymore, at least. You guys don't have to sit here and watch me make protein balls. All right, so this was perfect for my husband last week. So this is a 2-cup container, and he said that this was a perfect amount for him to bring to work. And make sure you stir it real good if you're using the Instant Pot, because sometimes, I don't know, the meat will get stuck on the bottom, or you have a pocket of onions somewhere. Or ground turkey that's not broken up. All right, and then the rest is going into these big ones. we might end up having this for dinner one night if we're not eating as much lunches, or sometimes if I get super lazy at night and I just want to not cook, then I'll pull out whatever we have for lunches, knowing that I have to make something then, or knowing that the next night I'll make enough of whatever food so that I can have leftovers the next day. Like, that's okay to change your plans halfway through the week, as long as that doesn't stress you out. Alright, and then remember, this was doubled. So it's a lot of food. So these are 3.2 cups. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, about 15 cups of hamburger helper in there. So 15 cups of that. I feel like I usually eat a cup, and my husband will eat 2 cups, but I also usually make like a bento box style lunch. So that just gives you an idea of how much to make when you're doing this, if you're not doing it now. All right, so we're at about an hour and 15 minutes, minus my chatting. I'm gonna finish rolling those protein balls later. Don't forget about them because they count. All right, hamburger helper for lunches, protein balls for snacks, veggies for snacks, tons of buffalo chicken dip for snacks, or I totally use it for lunches too. And then nuts, bags of nuts, bananas, apples, chips and salsa, guacamole cups. I think that's all of it. So hour and 15 minutes. I had my Instant Pot, so if you don't have that, it's gonna take a little bit longer. But there was also time, like I had time where I was rolling the peanut butter balls and we were kind of just waiting for the Instant Pot to come to pressure. So I feel like it's gonna even out and it's not gonna take you much longer. So we just did all the meals, or all the lunches and all the snacks for 3 people for 1 week in an hour and 15 minutes. I think that's reasonable. So let me know if you have questions. I'll be around. Let me know if this worked, if it didn't work, if you liked the recipes, if you didn't like the recipes, what you changed. Because I think that when you say that, there's 200 people in the group and it helps other people. And so as long as we're all giving each other ideas and opinions and options that we took, then we're all helping one another. So I hope you guys have a great Saturday.